So I wanted to talk a bit today about the relationship between time and grief. It's a concept I've been thinking a lot about lately, and I've noticed that there's this real disparity in terms of how I'm measuring time and how the people around me are. So I've written a few notes, and I'm going to refer to them because my thinking's pretty. I'm pretty exhausted, and my thinking is pretty scattered lately. So excuse all the looking down. But the first point I wanted to make is that as far as I can understand, grief is not linear. It's not a straight line from when some sort of trauma or heartache or tragedy happens to when you're healed and better. In saying that, I mean, hopefully every day that passes, you feel stronger and more resilient. But there are days that are inexplicably hard. There are days when you're useful and productive and energetic and high functioning, and there are days when you are not any of those things. And there are days when it hurts to breathe and it's hard to get out of bed and it's hard to find the stamina to make a piece of toast. Grief is not linear. I just need to refer to my notes because I knew I would get off topic here. So to my mind, there are days that are inexplicably hard. The grief just hits you and you don't know why or how long it will last for. But there are days that are hard because they mark what I would describe as the missing milestones. And these are things that probably people who are on the periphery of your life are not aware of, but they hurt like hell all the same, and they make it feel like you're never going to find a way out of your grief. An example of that was February 27th, which was a few days ago, was what I would call a missing milestone for my husband and I. For 8.5 months, February 27th was this magical day, and every week in my diary has been marked with a smiley face and a really anticipated number on the count up to 40 weeks, and this fantastic day when our baby was going to be born and our lives were going to start being really perfect. Only a handful of people, maybe 2 or 3, actually acknowledged that date and understood the magnitude of that date, the significance of it. And that day just felt like it broke me. It was so haunting and so painful. But in people's minds, it's been 6 weeks since Ella was born and died. And, 6 weeks is a long time. You should be getting stronger and better. And you should be marching on and getting on with the business of living and working and doing all those things that responsible, productive people do. But I couldn't move forward because all my dreams had hinged around February 27th. And on the night of February 26th, I lay in bed and I imagined that she'd been born a day early. And I imagined in really clear detail what that day would look like. I imagined all those wonderful firsts. The first cuddle, the first feed, the first bath, the first lot of phone calls to family, the first group text message. I imagine laying in hospital nursing our baby while my husband did that token stereotypical dad constructed Facebook post announcing the arrival of a healthy baby and boasting about everybody's health and the size of the baby and all those kind of details that we're all used to seeing. And And instead, my husband and I spent the morning of February 27th at our daughter's gravesite, and we released butterflies to celebrate her, what I call her would-be, should-be birthday. And that was such a feeling of heartache. But as I said, in people's minds, that day is not significant because it didn't actually happen, or not the way it was supposed to. And, you know, a number of weeks have passed since Ella's death. People's memories might have faded, but my grief certainly hasn't. I've been at home since Ella's birth, and for me, time has largely stood still. Almost all of the usual markers of time have just vanished from my life. Almost all. I've been a student or a school teacher for most of my life, and the local high school is across the highway near where I live. And every morning as I eat my brekkie, I see the staff car park fill up with cars. I hear the bells at different times of day. I see the kids leaving at the end of the day. And I know that a certain unit of time has passed and that people are living rich, full lives. But for me, the days and weeks are just blurring into one another. And it's an interesting thing because the passage of time is both a blessing and a curse when you're grieving. And I don't know that people understand that. With every day that passes, I feel fearful and tormented and really afraid that I'm going to forget some magical detail about Ella, that I'm going to forget about what her beautiful face and beautiful hands and gorgeous little body looked like, or I will forget some detail of her birth or the days leading up to it. I feel like with every day that passes, I'm moving further and further away from somebody that I love. And people don't understand that concept. But I also know that time is a really essential ingredient in healing. And it's funny because, excuse me, sorry. You know, when you're not grieving, you measure time in hours and weeks and those kind of units. But for me, I measure time in terms of really simple, basic achievements. On Tuesday, I only cried twice. On Wednesday, I saw a family with a young baby and I survived. You know, yesterday I went to the supermarket. I measure time in terms of little achievements, which previously wouldn't have meant anything to me and which probably don't mean anything to anybody else. Sorry, I just want to look at my notes quickly. I wrote here that time and grief share a funny relationship. Time is the only thing that can heal grief, but grief manipulates and distorts time. It grinds it to a halt and it makes it lose all context and meaning. So I guess to the non-grieving, who constantly ask me, you know, what am I doing with my time and how do I fill my days? And when I'm going back to work, I guess what I want to say to them is that, you know, like people always say, time is a man-made construction, and that your expectations and your way of measuring time are, at least at the moment, really at odds with mine. I don't know what else to say other than that's the grieving need people to be patient, and it's really important that understand that.